couple months ago, we had a large engineering company. When I say large, I mean they were large. So the national civil engineering company wanted to hire us for a survey, and before they could pay our deposit that we asked for to do the survey, they told us they needed to set us up as a vendor in their accounting system, and so they sent us over what they called a vendor info request and a purchase order. So we got back to them. We said, "Hey, we're happy to provide some information about our company for your accounting folks, but we aren't a vendor. We're a professional consultant, and we need an agreement for professional services, not a purchase order." We had already sent them our draft agreement, and so we said, there's some confusion here about who we are and what it is we do, and we would like to work with you guys, and we'd like to get our bill paid, but we can't do that if you guys are going to treat us like a vendor. We're not a vendor. We're a professional consultant. We said, you guys are civil engineers. You should understand this, right? We're a little confused as to why you would be asking to treat us like a vendor when you are yourselves professional consultants. So I wanted to do a video that explained the differences between a vendor and a professional consultant, because there's a big difference, right? And so if you're going to hire a professional consultant, you don't want to treat that consultant like a vendor. If you do that, you're not going to get good results. Okay. So what's the difference? Let's talk about the differences. So a vendor sells products or well-defined bundle of services, right? So a vendor is the person that comes to fill your, we have a vendor here that comes and drops off water for our spring water for our water dispenser downstairs. That's a vendor. We have a vendor that sells us and maintains our plotters and printers. That's a vendor. So those folks are selling products or well-defined bundles of services. They do not typically consult or offer objective advice. Now, they may offer you advice, but that's typically not objective advice. They're usually trying to sell you something, right? So my printer vendor does not offer me advice on his competitors' products, right? He's trying to sell me his products. And I understand that. I know that. He's a vendor, okay? The vendor doesn't typically perform extensive needs discovery with you as the client or customization, right? They come to you, they say, here's what I've got. Let's talk about if any of this works for you. And that's usually a fairly short conversation, right? So the gentleman that sold me our large format plotter that we have here, I would say he had maybe an hour total worth of conversation with me before I finally selected a plotter, right? He had a fairly limited set of plotters. I don't know, there was maybe 2 or 3 options that we had to choose from. I picked the one that fit my needs the best. And it was a fairly short process. Okay, so what about a professional? What makes a professional consultant different from a vendor? Professional sells a complex set of services, not a simple bundle. And typically a consultant is not selling you products. Now, there may be some work products or what we call deliverables involved in the services they provide, but they're not typically selling you a thing, right? They're selling you services. I would also say most professional consultants have an obligation to offer you objective advice and to disclose conflicts of interest. So, as a licensed land surveyor, if I'm sending you to a civil engineer and that civil engineer is giving me a 20% kickback on the work and I don't disclose that to you, that could get me into trouble. That's potentially unethical behavior, right? So a vendor doesn't usually have that constraint, right? But as a professional consultant, I have an obligation, ethical obligation, to look out for your interest. It's usually in our code of ethics and also required by our state licensing boards. Okay, so it's a very different relationship. A good professional consultant will usually perform extensive needs discovery. So I'll have a lot of questions for you before you hire me to make sure that I'm the right person and my team's the right team for you and your project, and that we understand what you need and you understand the risks involved. So that's typically fairly extensive. And also, we're going to customize the bundle of services for you. So every client I get hired by gets a unique scope of services, right? So that scope of services is tailored to their particular project. So there's some customization there. Typically, a professional consultant does not provide warranties or guarantees, right? So you're hiring me to guide you through a process. I can't always guarantee those results. In fact, I almost always cannot guarantee the result. So there's some uncertainty. Okay, so it's not like a vendor, you buy a copy machine and it comes with a warranty. Are typically a professional consultant isn't giving you anything that's going to have a warranty like that. The other difference between a vendor and a consultant is a consultant, usually a professional consultant, usually has some obligation to tell you the truth. I've got another video that talks about that. I'll try and remember to have Lori, our marketing person, link to that video. But professional consultants should tell you the truth, even if it's going to mean less profit for them or less business, lost business opportunity, right? A vendor doesn't have to do that. I'm not going to tell you all vendors lie, but vendors are salespeople and they have an incentive to sell you product. So you got to treat what they tell you with a dose of skepticism, right? You should be getting good, trustworthy advice from your professional consultant. So in conclusion, what can we say? Don't treat your professional consultant like a vendor. They're not a vendor. They're very different from a vendor. If you treat your professional consultant like a vendor, the relationship is not going to work well. And please, please, please do not send me a purchase order or a bid sheet, right? I am not a vendor. I am a professional consultant.